Hey everyone, welcome to a new live stream. How's everyone doing today? And yeah, today I thought, you know what, why not do a open spoiler discussion on Spider-Man No Way Home, because it's now on 4K Blu-ray, and now that I've finally had a chance to watch it again, live stream. Let me just. I'm just going to make sure I'm looking at this correctly. Yeah, I'm just trying to make sure that the audio is pretty good here. So let me just be. Hey everyone, welcome to a new live stream. Alright, so yeah. How's everyone doing today? I mean, granted, I don't know how many people are on here, but. So, yeah. Yeah, I'm just trying to make sure. But anyways, so yeah, we're going to be talking about Spider-Man No Way Home. If you have not seen Spider-Man No Way Home, well, for one, I'm pretty sure you've seen all the spoilers at this point, because now it's in the marketing. But if you somehow, hell, it's even in my thumbnail. But, if, you have any, like, if you want to, if you have any thoughts about Spider-Man No Way Home, let me know in the discussion below. And there's the discussion in the chat, I'll probably bring it up. And so yeah, let's talk about Spider-Man No Way Home for a second, because this was one of the most anticipated comic book films ever. Would I say it was one of the most anticipated movies ever? I don't know. But in terms of comic book films, it definitely was. I mean, especially since, we had 2020, and for the most part 2021, it being a hard year for movies, and this not only blew past expectations, but like Spider-Man No Way Home now is the highest grossing film of all time that didn't make $1 billion, that didn't make $2 billion, which is an incredible achievement. And hello, Alexei Savala. So yeah. Hell, let's just start with the trailers, because the trailers were insane for the, well no, actually, let's go further even before the trailers, because when they announced, I mean, no, because, Spider-Man, Homecoming 3 was announced. And I'm not gonna lie, to give a little bit of backstory on the Homecoming movies. I liked Spider-Man Homecoming. I liked Far From Home, but I'm not gonna lie, I didn't love them. I didn't think they were that great. They just kind of felt, small scale for Spider-Man movie standards. And I don't know, something about them just didn't really feel like Spider-Man. You know what I mean? They just kind of, there was just something about them that just felt very small scale and not all that epic feeling. And so yeah, and to give a little bit of background on all the other Spider-Man movies, sorry, but to give a little bit more of a background on the previous Spider-Man movies, I don't really like the Sam Raimi trilogy. I know that's a hot button, a hot take, but sorry, I just felt there was too many plot holes. I love The Amazing Spider-Man. The Amazing Spider-Man is is one of my favorite Spider-Man movies. Love that movie. I liked The Amazing Spider-Man 2, although it started to create some problems in terms of of trying to do too much with one movie. And hell, not even the fact that there were too many villains. And because with Spider-Man 3 and The Amazing Spider-Man 2, my problem with those movies wasn't really the fact that there were too many villains. I mean, hell, look at the problem wasn't that they had too many villains. The problem was that they had too many plot threads going on. And Alexei Zavala, talking about the Blu-ray and DVD covers, I will get to that. I should have probably mentioned this. I'll give you guys my first thoughts, like my thoughts overall on Spider-Man No Way Home, talking about the things I loved about it, talking about, what was going on before the movie was released, and all that stuff. And then once I'm done with that, I will take, live questions, but I will definitely talk about that, about the Blu-ray and DVD covers, and really just the posters in general. So yeah, Homecoming 3 was coming out, Homecoming 3 was coming out, and, I wasn't really expecting a lot, but then out of seemingly nowhere, I don't know if it was the Hollywood Reporter or Variety or Deadline, but one of those, sites reported that Alfred Molina was coming back as Doc Ock. I was like, really? Like, Doc Ock? And I found and I will say that I found that kind of weird, because I was like, wait, why is he coming back? Because, I get, how, they brought back J. Jonah Jameson at the end of, Spider-Man Far From Home being played by J.K. Simmons, because that's, that was just, I legitimately don't think you could recast that character. I mean, you could, but, I don't know. But at the point when it was Doc Ock, getting Alfred Molina back as Doc Ock, I was like, wait, what? But then it got even weirder. Because, I mean, you could make the argument that, with Alfred Molina as Doc Ock, with Alfred Molina as Doc Ock, you could go, well, that is considered by many people to be the best Spider-Man villain. I mean, I don't agree, but a lot of people love Alfred Molina as Doc Ock, so you could probably chalk it up to, he's iconic as Doc Ock. What can you say? All right. But then it came out that Jamie Foxx was going to be coming back to play Electro. I was like, okay, this is weird. Because at least you could argue with that with, at least you could argue that with, Alfred Molina, people loved that version of Doc Ock. And even though I like, Jamie Foxx's Electro, I do like his Electro. I didn't like his weird, nerdy, side before he became Electro, but once he became Electro, I thought he was gold. But a lot of people didn't like his Electro in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. And so, having them announce, actually no, it wasn't announced, it the trades leaked it. Not leaked it, but the trades, came out about that. Revealed that. And it was so weird, Alfred Molina and Jamie Foxx are coming back as Doc Ock and Electro, because that's when, again, with Alfred Molina as Doc Ock, I could maybe chalk that up to, maybe they just didn't want to recast the role, because Alfred Molina was perfect. But going out of their way to get Jamie Foxx, at that point, everyone, including me, became suspicious. It was like, what are they doing here? And then, came the title, Spider-Man No Way Home. And again, no one had any idea what was going on. It's like, what? The questions were still up in the air. Why was this happening? But then, came the teaser trailer. And it didn't reveal Electro yet, but it did reveal Doc Ock. But it revealed something, but the trailer revealed something that did not come out from the trades, and completely blindsided me in every sense. This pumpkin bomb in the trailer had me going, wait, are you serious? I mean, at this point in the trailer, they did say, the multiverse is a concept that which we know nothing, we know frighteningly little about. So they did confirm that this was a multiverse film. But at this point, bringing in just from this pumpkin bomb, just the design of that pumpkin bomb, I was like, wait, is Willem Dafoe coming back? Because like that I don't think was ever leaked, at least before the trailer. So that was weird. But yeah, like that was weird. But then came the leaks, and I'm assuming this is one of the leaks. Oh wait, no, this is the second trailer. I should have mentioned that. The second trailer. And once the second trailer came out, this 100% confirmed that this was the Willem Dafoe Green Goblin. I mean, I already kind of figured that with the pumpkin bomb and the design of it, but at that point there was no mistaking that was Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin. But that trailer, and I should also mention this, before the second trailer came out, keep in mind, at this point, the trades had already come out that Jamie Foxx was coming back as Electro, and even Jamie Foxx himself confirmed it before deleting that Instagram post. And Alfred Molina was shown in that teaser trailer, and that trailer did hint at the Green Goblin with that little pumpkin bomb. It hint with that little pumpkin bomb. But then when the second trailer came out, that's when we got our look at Jamie Foxx as Electro. And not too long after that, we got posters of these three. But however, I should have mentioned this. When the first trailer came out, again, those were the three we pretty much already knew. Electro was pretty much confirmed by Jamie Foxx, although we hadn't seen him up to this point. Doc Ock, they showed in this trailer, and they showed the pumpkin bomb in that trailer. But that was about it. And at this point, so at this point, everything else was kind of rumored, or not really rumored, it's like guesses. But then, funny enough, before the second trailer came out, I was watching, what was it, Eternals? Or something like that. I think I was watching Eternals. Or was it... I don't know. It was either... I think it was something at Cinemark. Because I don't go to Cinemark a lot. Or was it Cinemark? Or was it when I went to see Venom Let There Be Carnage? I don't know. But, however... But in case you don't know, when you go to a movie theater, before the movie starts, there's probably going to be like this thing called Noovie, where it talks about all the latest, movie stuff, and there's advertisements and whatnot. So yeah, and one of the things they do is like this. They bring in some like content creators from the internet, and it's pretty much a promotional piece for an upcoming movie that the studio probably paid for. However, this is where it gets weird, because they said, during that whole, promotional piece, they were talking about, and Spider-Man's going to be fighting against his greatest villains, and it showed, pictures of, Green Goblin and Doc Ock and Electro from... Alright, we already knew that from the trailers. A couple of things that they didn't show in the trailers were in that Noovie promotional piece. Sandman and the Lizard. And I was like... Because I was like, what? Now again, Sandman and... Lizard were rumored, but they were not the trades, like the big legitimate trades like Hollywood Reporter, Deadline, Variety, they said nothing about that. They said nothing about those two. And they weren't in any of the trailers. I mean, granted, you could see some, like, there's like this dust storm in the movie, but that doesn't really necessarily confirm that was Sandman, because, we've seen a bunch of times where, there's like a big battle and there's like, debris and dust everywhere. So that didn't really confirm anything. It was just, at that point, it was kind of a guess. But this Nuvi promotional piece pretty much confirmed that Lizard and Sandman were going to be in this movie. And then, well, what do you know? By the time the next trailer hit, that was confirmed. But in fact, when the second trailer dropped for Spider-Man No Way Home, here's the funny thing about that. The American trailer plays out as normal. It was a pretty normal looking trailer. But however, as with anything, there's a twist. Because then there was the Brazilian trailer. And this shot right here, where Spider-Man is going up against Electro, Sandman, and the Lizard. In the Brazilian trailer, that shot extends a little bit, to where you could see the Lizard just go and getting punched by nothing. Like, it's like a ghost fucking punched him or something. And I was like, okay, something was edited out of that shot. Like, something was edited out of that shot to make it look like something was edited out of that shot to hide whoever hit the Lizard, to where he just goes. And that, and the funny thing is, when I pointed that out, some people tried to tell me that it was fake, and that it was a Photoshop or something like that. I was like, what? Because I found that the whole thing about Lizard getting ghost punched, I literally found that out, what was it? Like 30 minutes after the trailer premiered. I was like, do you really think someone is going to, completely 100% accurately replicate this shot just to fake, and have a little bit where something ghost punches the Lizard? I was like, no, that's not possible. You can't, I already do not believe any one person could perfectly replicate this shot. I mean, hell, there's already effect simulations going on with the lightning and the sand. So already, it's like you're never going to be able to replicate this shot, because that's not how simulation effects work. And the way simulation effects work is that there's pretty much already like an algorithm or something like that as the word implies, simulates, sand moving, or simulates a lightning strike, to where you don't have to animate it. But since it's simulated, you cannot get the same exact result twice. You can't. That can't happen. Especially not with something as complex as, millions and millions of particles of sand. That's not possible. So there was no way that shot was faked of Lizard getting ghost punched. But then came more leaks, because then, at some point, there came this leak, maybe a few seconds of Andrew Garfield in his Spider-Man outfit, and the funny thing is, Andrew Garfield tried going, "Oh no, it's a Photoshop," and it's like, really? That's not a Photoshop. Because the funny thing is, Corridor Crew, an actual visual effects company and content, YouTube channel, pretty much debunked this whole thing and said it's not impossible. It's not 100% impossible that this couldn't be, faked, but the odds are like very slim. This would absolutely most likely be. This would have to be real, because because like people go, oh well, it's just younger Andrew Garfield from The Amazing Spider-Man 2. It's like, no, it's not. Like, he looks older in this. He looks like he's nearing 40. I mean, a very good-looking 40, but he's obviously not, 2014 Andrew Garfield. He looks older. And also, what they pretty much, chalked it down to was that it was too perfect to be a deep fake. Because with deep fakes, you can already kind of tell that something's off, whether it's like focal length or something like that. And they pretty much said that this is just too perfect. This is too good to look at. This is too realistic to be a deep fake. But then there were more leaks. And weirdly enough, of all people, John Campea, who did say he thought they were Photoshops, which and I'll just show you, these are the leaked photos. One of them, Andrew Garfield, Toby Mcguire, and Tom Holland, and the second one being, confirming that, Charlie Cox was returning as Daredevil. And he said he didn't think they were real because here's how I describe it. It's like, he said that this photo is probably photoshopped because his logic was, Tom Holland and Andrew Garfield have light sources coming from the left, but the light is hitting Toby Maguire on the right. And now, here's what the problem I have with that logic. And I'm not saying John Campea was lying. I don't think he was deliberately lying. I just think he was dead wrong. And even, when the movie came out, he did admit that he was dead wrong about that. So, don't take this as me as saying that John Campea was actively lying to people. I do believe that he believed that this was fake. I just think he was dead fucking wrong about that. Because here's the thing, yeah, there's light coming off, bouncing off of the right side of Tobey Maguire's face, but here's the problem with that. When you look at Tom Holland and Andrew Garfield, they're looking in roughly the same direction. And even then, Tom Holland has a little bit of light bouncing off of the right side of his face too. But Tobey Maguire, he is looking off to the left. He's looking off to the left. Whereas these two are pretty much having to keep their faces straight. Straight forward. But it's so wherever the light source is, you can tell Tobey Maguire isn't being lit from... He's not being lit from the right. He's being lit from the left. It's just he's in a different physical position than, Andrew Garfield and Tom Holland. So there was that. But, yeah. But yeah, those were the leaks. But overall, now let's just talk about Spider-Man No Way Home in all sorts of spoiler fashions. The way this, now, granted, I can't really pull up Voodoo. Yeah, I can't. I wasn't gonna play any clips or anything like that, but I was just gonna show images. But let me just put it over here. I'm trying to figure out which parts of this to go. Okay, I will say, there's this one part, around the beginning, when, this one part of the movie where is it? It's oh god, oh yeah. Okay, it's in the beginning, when everyone finds out that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, and the crowd's gathering around him, stressing his girlfriend out. One part that is so fucking where, not relatable, but it's oh my god, I could see this happening. where this one woman is pretty much lunging towards, Michelle Jones, Zendaya's character, saying, "What are you doing? Like, what are you doing?" And then, like, Spider-Man's like, "Hey, no, back off!" Like getting between his girlfriend and the other woman who's coming at Zendaya, and even though he does, and again, he just puts himself between the two, doesn't do anything, but the woman just goes, "Spider-Man hit me, he just did it, he just hit me, Spider-Man just hit me." I'm just like, oh my god, the gaslighting, it's so fucking real. It's just, like, it's, cause like that's exactly how crazy people react. It's like when you, like, it's just, yeah, like, it was just insanity. Now I've seen some people talk about the Daredevil cameo and saying, well, saying that was fan service that didn't serve the story. And I don't know, I gotta disagree because, like, the logic a lot of people are going with is that, there was no reason for it to specifically be Matt Murdock to be Peter's lawyer. I'm like, well, here's the way I see it. Maybe there was no reason for it to specifically be Matt Murdock as Peter's lawyer, but there's no real reason why it couldn't be either. I mean, he is a defense attorney. And at least from what we're looking at in this film, like, from what I understand, even though it's the same actor, Charlie Cox, playing Matt Murdock, it's not the exact same one from the Netflix series. Sort of like how, Kingpin in Hawkeye wasn't exactly the same as he was in the Netflix Marvel show, in the Netflix Daredevil show, because he's way too, like, he's like, in Hawkeye, he's an actual superpowered being. So the way this pretty much works is that, I guess, like, they just got the same actors from the Netflix shows, but they're not exactly the same. They're not the exact same characters. But regardless, it was really cool seeing Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock. And again, I don't really feel like it doesn't take away from anything. Like, I don't think there's anything contradictory here. So yeah. What are some of the... Let me talk about, like, what were some of the, oh my god. Oh, I love this one scene in the movie. Like, the scene where we first see Electro. Now, granted, let me guess. Yep, still can't play that. It's not showing. For some reason, it's just blacked out that part, like, that screen. But, however, obviously, we know what scene we're talking about. Like, when Electro comes out. And actually, let me just... look at... Sorry. Let's take... Let me just find let me just look at an image. Where is that? I need to find a picture of that from No Way Home. Electro, No Way Home. There it is. This scene right here. There we go. This scene right here was so cool and so eerie. And one thing I love about it, it was a small detail, but it made me grin like an idiot. Uh-oh. But it made me grin like an idiot seeing this. Wait, where'd it go? There we go. Yeah, it made me grin like an idiot when, when he tries to attack, when Spider-Man tries to attack Electro, and then Electro's eyes widen, and you hear the music go, "Brum, brum, 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 brum." Where, like, using that music from The Amazing Spider-Man 2, I was like, ooh, because I love the electro music in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Like, that kind of dubstep, electronic sounding music. Ugh! So freaking good. I love that so much. I love, love, love that little moment. Little moments like that just get me really giddy, like, ee. So yeah. And then, obviously, we see that he has his body back. Like, in this version, like this Electro, now, he looks like Jamie Foxx again. And I feel like this actually, because I was wondering, initially, I was wondering why does he look different? Like, why is, like, because, like, for consistency's sake, why doesn't he look like, Electro from The Amazing Spider-Man 2? But apparently he does. It's pretty much even within the film, it is a mystery. Because he's like, I got my body back. So even he has no idea how this happened. And I think that's honestly kind of, and I'm not gonna lie, this actually kind of does explain why even the lizard looks very different. Because, like, the lizard especially looks a little bit more cartoony than he did in, The Amazing Spider-Man 1. I do wish they kind of kept the design from The Amazing Spider-Man 1, because I thought that was really cool, but whatever. At least there was an explanation for that. Because, again, I'm assuming it was because the multiverse, like, they made these characters change a little bit. That's why they look slightly different. So yeah. What were some of the other parts I really want to talk about in the Amazing in Spider-Man, No Way Home? Ooh. Ooh, yeah, the Green Goblin. Let's talk about the Green Goblin here in Spider-Man No Way Home, because I'm not gonna lie, this is a bit one of, because actually I'll just go for a wide here. Green Goblin in this was a revelation, because here's one of my hot takes. I thought Green Goblin in Spider-Man 1 was probably my least favorite Spider-Man villain. I thought he was so goofy, over the top, and silly in the worst way. He looked like a Power Rangers villain, yada yada yada. But since this is a new director and new writers, and it's in the MCU, I was like, I was really curious as to how they were going to do the Green Goblin. Because we haven't really gotten that perfect, because previously I would have said, we haven't really gotten that perfect Green Goblin yet. Because both versions, Willem Dafoe and Dame DeHaan, they both had some really great things going for them, but weirdly enough, they were opposite problems. With the Willem Dafoe Green Goblin in Spider-Man 1, I thought everything about him was set up well, because, his character was getting ready to be really well set up, and the explanation for his technology, all that was, I was like, okay, this is looking pretty good. But then the end result was, again, a Power Rangers villain. And I was like, oh, God. So, like, that Green Goblin had great build-up, but a pretty lousy payoff. But then you get to The Amazing Spider-Man 2 with that Green Goblin, and I thought it was the complete opposite problem. The payoff was great. He looked amazing. His voice was kind of creepy. The way he offed Gwen Stacy was really well done. But here's the problem. There was no setup for that whatsoever. There was, like, no setup. And I was like, really? Like, why would you, like, 'cause I'm willing to bet he was maybe, like, the Green Goblin, like, when he's on the glider flying around, I'm willing to bet he was maybe in the movie for, like, less than 5 minutes. Because I was just like, are you serious? This is insane. So, yeah. So I was wondering how they were going to do him in this, and I am glad to say, Spider-Man: No Way Home nailed the Green Goblin 10 times over. This film nailed the Green Goblin in every respect. Because I don't know what it was, but even when he doesn't have this suit on for long, but when he has this suit on, it doesn't look stupid. I don't know, maybe it's because this suit translates better to a modern CGI suit rather than a practical suit or something like that. I don't know, but for what little, like, hell, I'm only about this was like this specific, suit was only in the film for like a few seconds. But however, for the most part, he's not in that suit. Hold on, let me just pull up the graphic again so that I can. Let me look up No Way Home Green Goblin, because the way, like, so yeah, they didn't use that specific suit throughout the entire film, but however, what they did do, I thought was honestly really cool. Where is it? Where can I find it? There we go. Here we go. Alright. This look, I thought was really awesome. This is everything. Like, again, this is the Willem Dafoe Green Goblin fully realized. You still have for the most part the original suit, but however, like, one thing that I think this allowed, for one, I like how this suit is just tattered and beaten, all that, but this also allows Willem Dafoe to express it with his face a lot more. Because Willem Dafoe, honestly, he has a great face for the Green Goblin. That. And another thing I want to really praise about this version of the Green Goblin is how he's paced out a lot better. And what I mean by that is that, because, like, in the original, in Spider-Man 1, I never truly got the sense these were two different personalities. Like, whenever they try to make it look like, oh no, there's the good Norman Osborn, but then there's that nasty Green Goblin. But I'm not gonna lie, he kind of comes across as a douche as Norman Osborn, and so he's still a douche as the Green Goblin. With this, this film really does make Norman Osborn out to be a legitimately lost soul. He's like, I have no idea what's happening right now, and he looks scared all the time. And then when he's the Green Goblin, that's when he becomes more confident and more sneaky and conniving. And there are some points in this movie, especially when rewatching it last night, where I was like, oh my god, that's when he just went back to Green Goblin right there. Where I think it was like when Doc Ock, after he got cured, he was like, "Isn't this gonna be great? Isn't this great, Norman? Like, we're finally gonna be back to our normal selves." And then you don't see Willem Dafoe's face, but he has his back turned, and he's like, "Oh yeah, like yes, It's gonna like or something along those lines. Basically, and he starts speaking in a way that you wouldn't at first think is suspicious, but then it's like, why is he all the more calm? Like why? Like because like again. Like some like I because like rewatching I was like something I was like oh boy something's off and then it turned like he so like the way he would segue from Norman Osborn to the Green Goblin in this film was way more weirdly enough both subtle and more apparent than in Spider-Man 1. And another thing that I gotta give props to this Green Goblin for. This Green Goblin finally got like another thing that really made it where this Green Goblin finally nailed it. It's that what was it? It's that more than any other Green Goblin, this Green Goblin specifically did the most to hurt Peter. Like, cause the most damage to Peter. I mean, look, because like really in Spider-Man 1 from 2002, admittedly, he doesn't really do anything to Peter. I mean, he tries to kill Mary Jane Watson and scares the shit out of Aunt May, but he doesn't really leave any lasting damage to Peter Parker. And in The Amazing Spider-Man 2, again, he does kill Gwen Stacy, but obviously that was at the very, very end of the film, and we never really get to see the result of any of that. But in this film, not only does he kill, Aunt May, but, he caused the spell, because, basically the way it works is that, in this film, Peter Parker wanted, asked Doctor Strange to make it to where everyone forgets who Spider-Man, that Spider-Man is that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. But then he doesn't realize, oh wait, I forgot to add in these little asterisks, I do want my girlfriend to still, I want MJ to still know that I'm Spider-Man and Aunt May and also my best friend and Happy. And the more he keeps changing it, it's like Doctor Strange is like, you're screwing up the spell, stop. And then that's what causes this whole rift. And it was about to. It's about to cause this whole rift in the multiverse, and so Doctor Strange has in this little box before it could do any lasting damage. It's hard to explain, but basically, Green Goblin by the end of this film Green Goblin is ultimately the reason why Peter has to have everyone forget that, who Peter Parker even is. Who Peter Parker even is. So really, in a sense, Green Goblin is the reason why Peter is all alone in this film. And I'm going to especially get to the ending of this movie, because this is one of the most poignant moments, maybe the most poignant moment in any Spider-Man film. But anyway, let's get back to talking about some of the things I love about this movie. But regardless, Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin in Spider-Man No Way Home might now be my favorite villain in any Spider-Man film. They finally nailed the Green Goblin. And it was just done so well. They finally nailed him in this. And of course, let's talk about Toby Mcguire and Andrew Garfield showing up. At this point, I kind of already knew they were going to be in the movie. I mean, because of all the leaks. But I was still excited to see them. But the one thing that the leaks couldn't have predicted is that they show up, hell, watching the movie last night, because like at first, when I first saw the movie, I was like, man, it was so, like, because like basically going into the movie for the first time, I thought they were just like, we were going to get to the third, like to the final battle, and then that's when out of nowhere, when all hope seems lost, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, like they come in and help save the day. I thought that was just going to be it. But no, when I saw the movie, I thought, man, like wait, they're in like the entire, like almost the entire third act. But then I realized that it wasn't the third act that they showed up in. They showed up not long after the halfway point of this film. I was like, oh my god. Like they were in this, they were legitimate, they weren't even cameos. Like Toby, like Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock, that was a cameo. These guys weren't even cameos. They were legitimate supporting characters that had arcs, especially Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, which makes my heart happy because Andrew Garfield is still to this day my favorite Spider-Man, and this movie shows why he is still my favorite Spider-Man. So yeah, and this honestly, this does lead to maybe my favorite moment in the movie. My favorite overall scene in the movie, when Tom Holland's Peter Parker meets Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield's Peter Parkers, because keep in mind, Aunt May was just killed, and MJ and Ned are trying to figure out, man, we gotta find Peter. And so Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, bring them, they all together, they figure out, okay, I think we know where Peter is, and they bring Ned and MJ to Peter Parker, to their Peter Parker, and he meets them as like, what? And they all pretty much start talking about their losses and what they've gone through, the people they've lost being Spider-Man. Both but because again, Tobey Maguire, Tom Holland's Peter Parker, he just lost Aunt May. Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire, they lost their Uncle Ben, and also Andrew Garfield also lost Gwen Stacy, the thing I love is that they really do sort of talk about what happened after The Amazing Spider-Man 2, because, again, we never got an Amazing Spider-Man 3, so what came after that? Like, there has to be some long-lasting, because, you can't just kill off Gwen Stacy and have nothing, and not have any kind of long-lasting mental consequences. And granted, I don't really blame The Amazing Spider-Man 2 for that, because it ended in such a way where it's there was no time to show that. And he said, and basically, Andrew Garfield says, I tried to carry on, try to be that friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, but I became rageful. I got bitter. And I stopped pulling my punches. Like, holy shit! Like he started. I was like, oh my god! He started killing people, and it was like, ugh. That was just like that. That was eerie. And he's like, because the whole thing, after Green Goblin killed Aunt May, Tom Holland's like, I want to kill him. I want to kill Norman, and he just had. And again, it's all done so well. And basically, this scene shows as, is meant as, to show that, Peter, Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire, they're Peter Parkers. They went through these losses too, and went through very similar stages of rage. And they're like, no, you don't want this. We've been through this ourselves. We do not want you to make the same mistakes. And again, we heard that with Andrew Garfield talking about how he stopped pulling his punches. And that, again, something that we never got to see with his Spider-Man after Gwen died. But then, Tobey Maguire, also, goes into something that we already did know from Spider-Man 1. And again, I thought it was done so well. The way he was describing it, he's like, my Uncle Ben was killed. And he was, he said, the night Ben died, I hunted down the man who I thought did it. I wanted him dead. And I got what I wanted. And it didn't make it better. It took me a while to get through that it took me a long time to get through that darkness. And, because again, we did see that in the original Spider-Man trilogy. And I just, God, like, cause like, again, it was just done so well. And look, let's face it, for all intents and purposes, in Spider-Man 1, he killed that guy. The guy who he thought killed Uncle Ben. Like, Toby Mcguire killed him. Like, some people go, well, no, that guy tripped, backed up and fell to his death. Like, no, he wouldn't have done that if Toby Mcguire wasn't there. And weirdly enough, out of all things I have to criticize about the Toby Mcguire Spider-Man movies, that moment actually wasn't one of those criticisms. Like, I kind of like, how in that version, he essentially kills the guy who he thinks killed Uncle Ben. Because it's like, the whole thing is about, the whole thing is about, being responsible. Like, using your powers for responsible purposes and not, revenge. And that's one thing I think that does carry through, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, the Mark Webb Amazing Spider-Man movies, and No Way Home as well. And, oh my god, the part that I love, when another part I just fucking love, when Tom Holland goes, I want to kill him. I want to tear him apart, and starts choking up, and he says, I could still hear her voice in my head. But she told me that we did the right thing. She told me that with great power. And then it cuts to Toby Mcguire, and his eyes light up, and goes, comes great responsibility. And then looks over at Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker, and he goes, like, he's like, how do you... And Tom Holland goes, wait, how'd you know that? Toby Mcguire says, Uncle Ben said it. And then Andrew Garfield says, No, Andrew Garfield says, Uncle Ben said it. And then Toby Mcguire says, the day he died. Maybe she didn't die for nothing, Peter. And the thing I love, like, having Toby Mcguire specifically finish that sentence, like, when Aunt May said, with great power there must also come great responsibility, I thought that was pretty good. But having it come back later when Toby Mcguire repeats it to him, I thought was just pure excellence. And again, the way his eyes light up when Tom Holland starts saying it. She told me that with great power comes great responsibility. Like, you can tell in his head, that moment, he's just like, you have no idea how much those words are going to change your life. And how much that's going to mean to you. And again, it's just, it's so good. That's my favorite scene in the movie. But then you get to my favorite moment in the movie. And that's one that everyone's familiar with. When Andrew Garfield has his redemption moment. When MJ is, falls, Tom Holland's Peter Parker, jumps down to catch her, but then gets caught by the Green Goblin, and Goblin flies off with him, leaving her to still fall. And then it cuts to Andrew Garfield, and the moment I saw, like, and like everyone in the theater just started clapping, and it was just like, when Andrew Garfield saves MJ, again redeeming that, his loss from the Amazing Spider-Man 2, and. But it's not only that. He said, he goes, "Are you okay?" And she goes, "Yeah." And then he goes and starts getting emotional, choking up, remembering what happened with Gwen. And I'm just like, that, especially that moment, him having Andrew save MJ was good enough, but having him get emotional afterwards, oh god. Oh god, that moment was so good. Oh my god, it was amazing. It was Amazing Spider-Man. But good, and again, it's not, because here's the thing. This film is what fan service should be. Fan service that, fan service that propels the narrative. Because they had already set up. I mean, this wasn't empty fan service. Because, unlike, let's say, Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, there was, fan servicey moments that made no sense whatsoever. The whole Raylo kiss, or, all that stuff. And it's just, it didn't mean anything. But in this, the fan service was there to serve the narrative. It made narrative sense. And it's just, all of it was just done so well. And then, of course, you have the the musical callbacks to their original films. Both when Sandman, and, when Sandman is cured, and when Toby Mcguire meets up with, with Doc Ock, you hear the or whatever it was, whatever the Danny Elfman theme was from the Sam Raimi movies. Oh god, I love that. Although granted, if it were me, I'd probably save the Doc Ock, the Doc Ock Toby Mcguire reunion. That would probably be where I keep the that Spider-Man theme. But with Sandman, I feel like I probably would have used a little bit of the birth of the Sandman music. But that's not even a nitpick. I'm not even nitpicking. That's just something I would do a little bit differently. But it's not an actual criticism towards the movie. It was still beautiful. It was still wonderful. And also, even when I was watching the movie, I noticed that, when Sandman was being cured, I was like, that's a shot. That's from Spider-Man 3. Or at least that was an alternate take from the Amazing Spider-Man. No, from Spider-Man 3. Because if you remember in Spider-Man 3, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, busts open some big pipe with water onto and spraying and having Sandman be drenched in that. And if you remember, he gets up, he's like, and you see everything's deteriorating and whatnot. In this, they must have used this was an alternate take from Spider-Man 3, because it's not the exact same shot. Because I remember that shot. I literally remember that shot like a fucking photo memory or something like that. So, but it wasn't the exact same shot, but I could tell that it was a different take, because that looked like 2007. That looked like 2007 Thomas Hayden Church, and just everything about that just kind of looked like it was from 2007. And same thing with the lizard getting cured, and you see the original actor Rhys Ifans, or whatever his name is. I could tell that was an alternate take from the Amazing Spider-Man 2. No, from the Amazing Spider-Man 1. Now, I will say, that's also not even really a criticism. Just because I noticed that, they used Sandman footage from Spider-Man 3 or lizard footage from the Amazing Spider-Man, that's not really a criticism, just because I noticed that was the case. Because it was still done, incredibly well. If I had not already seen Spider-Man 3 or, the Amazing Spider-Man, I probably, I would not have noticed this. They just did that so well. And I just gotta say, the visual effects overall in the film are phenomenal. I see some people complaining about the effects. I'm just like, what is wrong with you people? This looks amazing. I legitimately do not understand how anyone could criticize this shot. That looks great. I don't understand. Really what it comes down to is, people are complaining, Tobey Maguire's suit looks slightly different. It's yeah, of course the suit looks different. The original suit is, has like whoa like has like deteriorated over the years. It's like legitimately like disintegrated over like a decade. So it's like, of course, like hell, even the original Spider-Man suit from the 3 movies, it wasn't one suit. They changed suits a lot in those films. Like, just going from like Spider-Man to Spider-Man 2, like the palm. In Spider-Man 1, or in Spider-Man 2, like they added like more webbing to go across the hand that wasn't in Spider-Man 1. So it's like, of course the suit's going to look different. And on a CGI level, this looks great. I don't get what people are complaining about. Like, this looks great. So yeah, but, you know, people want to complain because they want to complain about something. But regardless, you know, yeah. That looks great. But then we get to the end of the movie, where Peter Parker does make the sort of the ultimate sacrifice. Oh wait, I forgot to mention about. Oh yeah, I have to continue the musical cues thing. So yeah, you know, we heard a little about the Danny Elfman theme when Toby Mcguire cures, cures Sandman, and you know, and when he meets up with Doc Ock again, which oh my god, that was such a nice moment. But they also brought back specifically the James Horner music, you know, like when Andrew Garfield meets up with Jamie Foxx again. I was like, oh my god, they brought back that theme. Because don't get me wrong, I like the music in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. But that James Horner music felt so, like, that was so much better in my opinion. It was just, it felt so epic and so mysterious at the same time. And it's just, I love that. And I love that they brought back, the James Horner music from The Amazing Spider-Man 1. Oh god. That's so good. It brought so much warmness into my heart, into my dying heart. You know, and of course, you know, you got. I'm trying to think of any other really great moments that I forgot to mention. Oh yeah, and I love this movie. And this movie's also just the way this movie incorporates so many memes so flawlessly in this. Like they even have, you know, Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin go, "I can help you," you know. I'm something of a scientist myself. I was like, oh, they did the meme! And sadly, no one else noticed it. Like, or at least no one, like, I was hoping people in the theater would go, yeah! Like, but no, they didn't. I was like, oh man, come on. I thought it was great. He said the thing. He said the meme. And also, one thing I love, I mean, hold on, let me. Hold on, let me just. I'm trying to find that specific moment. Where is that moment? Oh yeah, yep. And in the film, they somehow managed to incorporate the pointing meme. I didn't realize this initially. I didn't catch this when I was watching the film at first. But later on, after a few days, when I was, you know, looking up pictures online, I was like they revealed, oh wait, they did do the pointing meme. Because, like, you know, what was it? Ned goes, Peter, and they're like, yeah. All three of them go, yeah. I was like, wait, wait, which one are you talking about? And they just start pointing at each other. It's like, and like, they did the pointing meme. They did the Spider-Man pointing meme. I mean, granted, we also got like, you know, that, where is it? I mean, yeah, they did do the little pointing meme for a promotional thing, but even in the film, they did manage to, you know, do the pointing meme, like, huh? Because everyone has, like, even even Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse did the pointing meme at like the end of the credits, and it's like I now love how like this is now canon. The Spider-Man meme is Spider-Man canon. It's amazing. It's amazing Spider-Man. But yeah, they had that meme. There was also a callback to my back. Like there was a low callback to that. Just it's just all of it was just a lot. It was a lot of fun, but ultimately, you know, where is it? And if I'm not mistaken, I think that was like Andrew Garfield's idea. I think that actually was like Andrew Garfield's idea to do the Spider-Man pointing meme, which obviously is just great. Hold on, let me just... Spider-Man, like, let's talk about the ending, because the ending is very, very bittersweet, because, you know, ultimately, honestly, this is probably another one of the best parts about Spider-Man No Way Home. And it's that, you know, ultimately like the multiverse is breaking apart, and like it's about to become a multiverse chaos mess. And ultimately, you know, Peter goes, you know what, like just cast a spell to where everyone forgets who Peter Parker is. And he's like, and ultimately that happens, which means, and like all the villains and both Peters and both the other Peters go back to their separate universes. But sadly, no one knows who Peter Parker is. And for the first time ever in Spider-Man history, or at least in the films, Spider-Man is completely alone. He's completely alone. No, he has no one left. And it's honestly even though it ends on like a triumphant, you know, Spider-Man swing, you know, it still is a very sad ending. You know, and even, like, you know, because there's another great part in the film around the end where, because, like, you know, he promises MJ and Ned, I'll come find you guys. Now, you know, you'll remember, I'll make sure you remember who I am so we can be together, so all three of us can be together again. But you know, when he tries to go up to MJ, he sees the one of the, like, a bandage above her, around her eyebrow area, and she's like, oh yeah, I don't really know where I got this. You know, it's just, yeah. And then, you know, Peter makes the decision to not try to remind them who he is, and you know, he goes off, gets a coffee, walks out of the coffee shop. And what else? Like, I'm trying to remember what else happened. He gets an apartment all by himself, you know, and he has this look on his face where he's like, this look of almost kind of fearfulness in his face, like not too much where it looks like he looks like he's trying to hide it. But it's like, but you can tell on the inside is like, I'm not prepared for this at all. And, you know, because again, he has no one left. You know, and then what does he do afterward? Later on, he makes a Spider-Man suit all by himself, and you know, the end of the film, he goes out and he's swinging around. And it's like, it's a very sad, again, it ends on that, you know, triumphant Spider-Man swing, but ultimately it is it is the saddest ending out of any Spider-Man movie. Knowing that, you know, again, Peter has no one left. everyone that he's ever cared about has either died or doesn't remember or doesn't even know he even exists. And this goes back to that scene I love in the film where Toby Mcguire, with great power comes great responsibility, and again that comes back, that comes back in the ending where he does where he does what he feels is the responsible thing, which is I can't interact with MJ or Ned anymore. Like, I want them to be safe and not have to deal with my problems. And again, it's just so beautiful and poetic. And and it made me realize this entire film was a Spider-Man origin story in disguise. Where, it's a very weird kind of, origin story, because technically he's already Spider-Man, but it almost feels like, because one of my problems with Spider-Man Homecoming and Spider-Man Far From Home was that he feels like Spider-Boy, not really Spider-Man. But this film kind of addresses that, and he evolves from the character's a teenager, but still, regardless, going from being a kid to being an adult, and again with no one left to back up on, and it's just really sad in a way, but again, it really is hard to describe it, and this film just did that so perfectly. And so, yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, Spider-Man No Way Home might not just be my favorite Spider-Man movie. It may have actually overtaken Avengers Endgame as my favorite comic book movie of all time. I mean, no. My favorite my favorite Marvel Cinematic Universe movie of all time. Not comic book movie of all time. Because, no, I'd still put The Dark Knight well over this. I put Joker over this. Probably Logan as well. But, yeah. I thought Spider-Man No Way Home was everything it was everything a Spider-Man movie should be. And more. It went above expectations, and if I'm honest, and as I said, in my top 10 movies of 2021, this rested at number 3. This was Spider-Man No Way Home was number 3. Dune was number 2, and West Side Story is number 1, and I still stand by that. But yeah, I loved everything about Spider-Man No Way Home. This is an excellent film. So yeah, and now we're just going to talk about some of, your live thoughts and opinions over Spider-Man No Way Home. So here we go. First, let me go get something real quick. I'm back. Alright, Cole Warner Reviews says, this was a great movie. Have you ever played Batman Arkham Asylum? If not, it's a great PS3 game that I played on a PS. Now the PS4, I recommend your game with your fan of the Dark Knight trilogy. Okay, Cole Warner Reviews. I don't want to be mean, but you've asked me about Arkham Asylum with every video I've been making recently. I've never played Batman Arkham Asylum. I've seen the whole gameplay. Alright. I gave you and I like the story. Alright. Can you please not can we please, not mention Arkham Asylum again? This is literally the exact same comment you've been posting every single video. My guy. There you go. I gave you my thoughts. Please don't spam the exact same thing over and over and over again. There we go. Alexi Savala says, long time no see, Christian. Yeah. And going back to what you said, Alexi Savala, what do you think of the covers for Spider-Man No Way Home DVDs and Blu-rays? I was honestly pretty disappointed. They don't look that good in my opinion. I agree for the most part, which is why I got the Walmart exclusive 4K Blu-ray that actually has one of the good covers. This is my favorite poster for Spider-Man No Way Home. Like, this is great. So, yeah. Although when you take the slipcover off, you get this, which, I mean, it's not awful, but it's also very bland. Actually, it's kind of, yeah, it's very bland. But, yeah. The slipcover, I really like it. Sodium285 says, J.K. Simmons was the best part of the Raimi trilogy, in my opinion. I honestly completely agree. I don't like the Sam Raimi trilogy, but I will say J.K. Simmons was always perfection. Loved him. Sodium285 says, sue me, but I think Spider-Man No Way Home is the best Spider-Man movie. I agree. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is definitely a close number 2. I mean, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is fantastic, but, and so, yeah. Alexi Zavala says, Electro looks so much better in No Way Home. Yellow lighting looks more realistic, but blue lighting looks more cooler. I will say, those two sentences kind of contradict one another. I will say, I kind of prefer his look in The Amazing Spider-Man 2, because I thought it was a very unique kind of design, whereas this, alright, it's just mainly Jamie Foxx with a little bit of lightning, so... But again, it's not bad in this film, so yeah. Alexis Zavala says, I swear the secrets for No Way Home were like the worst kept secrets I've ever seen. Lol, everything was getting leaked. Yeah, these were like Toby Mcguire and Andrew Garfield showing up and Matt Murdock. These were the worst. Like these were the worst kept secrets ever. And funny enough, the villains weren't even meant to be revealed. Like, initially, apparently, like, the original marketing for they said that they were originally going to market this as, like, a civil war between Doctor Strange and Peter Parker. I was like, okay, you knew you should have known that at least the villains would get leaked. Like, come on now. But, yeah. So, yeah. Alexis Zavala says, have you seen Sonic 2? And Sodium285 says, can't wait to see Sonic the Hedgehog 2. I have seen Sonic 2. It's probably, I do like it. I will say, we are talking about Spider-Man No Way Home, not Sonic in this, but I have seen it. Alexis Zavala says, what do you think of the returning old themes? What was your reaction? I loved it. I loved hearing the old themes again, and not even just from Toby Mcguire and Andrew Garfield, but also from, like, you hear a little bit of, like, Green Goblin, hear a little bit of, Electro, hear a little bit of, Doc Ock. I loved all that. Alexi Zavala says, have you seen Morbius? No, I have not seen Morbius. So, yeah, no, I have not seen Morbius. I think Sony made a new deal with Netflix, so I'm probably going to wait for it to come on Netflix or something like that. Unless it doesn't arrive before the end of 2022, which by then I'll probably have to maybe get, like, rent on 4K or something. I haven't heard good things about Morbius, especially from what I heard of from the post-credit scenes. Oy. Alexis Zavala says, what do you think of the apartment fight scene when Peter was constantly punching the Goblin and Goblin was just laughing? Oh god, I love that. It was so visceral, so aggressive. And again, like, just, like, Willem Dafoe played that like a freaking champ. And he was, like, actually kind of scary. So, yeah. Sodium285 says, I love Charlie Cox coming back as Daredevil. I really like that too. So, yeah, I did really like that. It was really fun. So, yeah. Alexi Zavala says, I really love the idea of the Goblin placing his mask right on the glider. There's a concept art for No Way Home where the Goblin would upgrade his glider and repair his broken mask and place it there. Yeah, I saw that was a concept thing. They ultimately ended up not doing that. I mean, that doesn't sound like a bad idea. I don't know. Or at least, like, because, who knows how something's going to turn out in live action as opposed to a piece of concept art. Official C says blue. I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, granted, a lot of this is blue. So, yeah. Alexi Zavala says, I was disappointed that the Goblin and Toby didn't have any interaction with each other. I get that the Goblin was supposed to be Tom's main villain, but I wouldn't have minded a small interaction. Oh no, they did interact. Goblin almost killed him. So, I guess you could say there was an interaction right there because, the Goblin tried to kill Toby Mcguire, so... And the funny thing is, when that happened, when he stabbed Toby Mcguire's back... literally stabbed him in the back, I heard someone, like, right next to me going, God fucking damn it, or something like, or like, fuck, something along those lines, because, like, I guess he really liked Toby Mcguire. I will say, I'm not saying, like, the rational part of me thought this, but, like, the evil lizard part of my brain was kind of going, yes, kill him, do all the great things for Andrew Garfield, and then kill Toby Mcguire. Not real. I don't really want Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man to die in that moment, but just, it was that, everyone has that evil side of themselves that they don't agree with, that they don't like, but, that evil side of you, sometimes, there, but, yeah. I thought that would have been kind of funny. And I will say, is anybody left in the chat? Anybody left? Anybody left? Is anyone left here? Just trying to make sure. And I guess if that's the end of it, then I will say, thank you guys for, tuning in to to my Spider-Man No Way Home open spoiler discussion, or as I like to call it, like I might try to call this series of like spoiler discussions just calling it spoiler alert. So yeah, I might just call these spoiler alerts. So yeah, guys. If you weren't here for the live stream, let me know in the comments below what your favorite Spider-Man No Way Home moment was. Where does this rank in your favorite Spider-Man movies? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. I forgot to do this throughout the thing. That's fine. But if you haven't already, subscribe, hit that notification bell, hit that like button. And again, leave a comment what your favorite moments were. And if you want to see more, I guess click that subscribe button. Yeah. See ya.